The other day I was talking about how my mother disappeared my toys and she didn't let me have toys. Like I had maybe one stuffy at a time, one Barbie at a time. Not really easy to play Barbie when you only have one Barbie, by the way. And she would just disappear things. So if somebody gave me a gift and she didn't want me to have it, she would disappear it. Or my favorite bunny, she disappeared it, that kind of thing. And there was a point in time where I had a 2XL, for those of you of my generation, and a Teddy Ruxpin. And those two items she let me keep because the owner of the company that manufactured those would probably have found out that I didn't have them. So I did get to keep those two toys throughout most of my childhood, which was kind of cool. But anyway, my mother just, it was all obviously about control. And I remember different toys that were purchased for me by like my uncles along the way. Teddy Ruxpin was my uncle kind of guy too, like Truth or Consequences, this little doctor kit. And by the time I got back to my grandparents' house, so this was during a period when I lived with my grandparents. Let me clarify a few things before we get all confused, because I'm in my head, I know the story and you don't. So my mother tried to unalive me by dropping me out of a 2-story window when I was 5 or 6 years old. After that, I went to live with my grandparents. Not because they knew what she did, but for some reason I went to live with my grandparents. Nobody in the family, none of the relatives have ever said that they thought that that's what she did or that she had anything to do with it. The story she spun was that I was playing on a toy box in my room that she had told me never to play on, and I fell out of the window. There was no toy box, one. And two, eventually that story somehow became the family joke. I became the family joke of, were you trying to fly like Supergirl? And nobody in the family ever acknowledged that they thought or knew that she did that to me, that she dropped me out of the 2-story window. And looking back at it now, knowing that my babysitter and her family always suspected it, tells me that my relatives also had to have, at least one of them, suspected it. So anyway, I'm living with my grandparents. I'm around 5 or 6 years old. And interesting, I'd never really thought much of it, but I didn't have toys there either. And I don't know why my grandparents wouldn't have made sure that this little girl who now doesn't have her mommy, I never called her mommy really, and doesn't have a dad because my dad wasn't in the picture at that point in time. Like, why wouldn't you make sure I had all the comforts of home? Did my mother tell them that she didn't want me to have lots of toys? I don't know. But I do think that's really, really strange. So during the time that I lived with my grandparents, my mother would come and go. She was husband hunting during that period of time. So I'm there about 4 years, from the age of like 5, 6 years old until I'm 9, when she shows up with my new daddy, already married. In between there, she'd show up now and again. I actually have one goodish memory of her visiting out of all the times she visited. And I don't know why this was the case, because I don't remember her staying at the house when she would visit. It felt like, in my best memories, that she would come for a day or whatever, take me out or take my brother out, sometimes both of us. And when she would take my brother out, those visits, like there was one time she took him on a ski trip, and I was little, okay, but old enough to go skiing. I would have been 7, he would have been 12, and took him to an Isaac Hayes concert. I'll never forget that, because they went away for the weekend, left me behind, and she didn't take me anywhere at all, and I don't remember the next time that I saw her. Anyway, the goodish memory, and it's the only one I have. She was doing her makeup in her old room, which had like one of those, cute little vanities and whatever. And she allowed me to lay in the room like I was laying on my tummy, kind of. I had a little book and I was watching her, and I kind of remember looking at her like admiring how she was a beautiful woman. She was. I'm not going to take that away from her. I look like my dad. I'm really thankful, because if I had to look in the mirror and see her face, I think I would lose my I definitely know I would not like that. And I remember like sitting there and I'm looking at her, and I was only allowed to stay if I didn't say a word. So I watched her do her makeup. I have a distinct memory of this really weird blue eyeliner that was like a liquid that they used to take and put the droplets. Anyone out there know what that is? And I remember watching her, and that's about it. That was the goodish memory. And I say goodish because why wasn't I allowed to talk? Why couldn't we have I never see her. So it actually breaks my heart for little me. All the good is out of it, I guess. Never mind, it's not a good memory. Okay, so all this to be said, let's get back to the toys. So one of the times that my mother picked me and my brother up to take us to Boston. I remember it was Massachusetts. Boston, Massachusetts, but I remember Massachusetts so well because I couldn't say Massachusetts. I was so cute. I was like 7 years old. And my mother got sick on the trip, and we were with one of my uncles. And so my mother, it was a 2-story flat where we were staying, and my mother was up in the bedroom sleeping it off, I guess. I don't know. I'm little, right? I don't know the situation. But the uncle, we'll call him Uncle H, that's his first initial, took me, and I think my brother went with us as well, I can't remember for sure, to get some toys. So he bought me Truth or Consequences. I wanted a doctor kit so I could make my mother better. Also heartbreaking. Didn't expect to feel that. And a lemon twist thing. It was this thing you put on your ankle and kind of twisted it around. Oh, and he also got me a slinky. So I was doing well. I never get toys. So this was awesome. And we got back to the flat, and I tried to go up the stairs with my little doctor kit, and he stopped me. And I don't know, I don't remember anything after that other than the fact that the toys disappeared. I never saw them again. Don't know what happened to them. Fast forward to when I have my own daughter, my first daughter. I was 17 years old. My mother used to buy her toys all the time. All the time. And funny, none of them ever disappeared. None of them. And now I totally get what all of that meant, right? My mother was constantly showing me that she could love my daughter and not me. And what she didn't understand was I was happy she could love my daughter. I was sad she couldn't love me. And I had those two experiences, feelings, as two very separate things. She was really trying to hurt me, and she did, but not the way that I think that she was hoping to be able to hurt me. My grandmother weaponized me in exactly the same way. She would gush over me in front of my mother, and looking back, I can remember how it rolled out and the body language and everything attached to it. And on those days, my mother would be even more torturous towards me. And I think my grandmother knew it. And I think that my grandmother did that to create a stronger bond between me and her, because then I would lean into her more and I needed her more, that kind of thing. So anyway, I just was thinking these thoughts because the other day I made a video about the disappearing toys, and it got me remembering, memory unlocked, these other experiences that I thought I would share, because I know that when you have a mother or a father who is a narcissist, mine's also a sociopath, bonus, like mine, we have funny sense of humor, don't we? Dark, so dark. Anyway, when you have a growing up experience like mine, I share these stories because the abuse is so patterned, and I want everyone out there who's gone through similar experiences to be able to understand that it was never their fault. It was never your fault. These are patterned types of abuses by people who are extremely cruel and evil. Thank you for being here. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. It helps me to be able to give you the type of content that you're looking for. Thanks so much. See you soon.